Welcome to lecture number 2 of Business Studies. We are going to continue with internal and external communication. Uh, what we did last week was communications, um, internal and external communication, and the process of effective communication, that is that the sender sends the message and using a medium of communication, the receiver receives it and gives a feedback stating or acknowledging that he understands the message. What is communication? Communication is the transfer of a message from the sender to the receiver who understands the message. A message is the information or instructions being passed by the sender to the receiver. Now, who the sender is? The person or the organization sending the message, and the receiver is the person to which the message or instructions have been sent to or are intended to be followed. Internal and external communication. Internal communication is between the members of the same organization. Like last week, I gave you the example of that internal communication is between the employer and the employees, among the employees, or if we take the example of our school, so when the principal is communicating with the teachers, or the teachers are communicating amongst themselves, or the teachers are talking or giving instructions or giving a lesson to the students, this is all internal communication. External communication is between the organization and some other organization or individuals. Like if I am writing a complaint of electricity for my house, then this is an external communication. In the same way, if our school is giving a complaint for our PTCL number to PTCL company, then that is an external communication, either by telephone or writing an email or sending a written complaint to them. Now, communication should not only be that the sender sends the message and then forgets about it. The process of communication, to be effective, it should be ensured that when the sender is sending the message, the receiver is acknowledging it and giving a feedback that yes, one, he or she has received the message, and number two is also understood by the receiver, and that uh, message or that communication is sent, or acknowledgement is sent back to the sender as a feedback. One-way or two-way communication. One-way communication is when there is no feedback required for the message or the receiver is not allowed to reply. Like if I am sending, I have written a note on the board. Do I need a feedback from you? No. I just want you to write it in your diary and take it home for you to remember. In the same way, if a notice is put up on a notice board or a signage is written on the road side or the pedestrian crossing or the signals, these are all one-way communication. Why? Because you don't need to answer back or give them a reply or a feedback on that message. Two-way communication. Two-way communication is when the feedback is required. Like if we are having a face-to-face meeting with our colleagues and employees together, the manager is having a meeting. Obviously, he would want some response from the employees, some feedback, some brainstorming session. In the same way, if we are talking on the telephone, it's a two-way communication because both the people on both the ends are talking to each other. This is an example of a two-way communication. Okay, choosing an appropriate communication method is very important, and it depends upon different factors. The first one being speed. That means that if I want to immediately convey a message or a certain instructions to my employee or some individual outside my business organization, I need to choose a communication method that is speedy and quick, and I can get a response that and an acknowledgement and feedback from the person that he or she has received my message. Number 2, cost. When choosing a communication method, we always choose methods that are cheaper and are not very expensive, because if we choose expensive methods of communication, it will become more costly for the company or the organization. Second, message detail. When I want to send graphical information and pictures, my method of communication would be different. Obviously, it cannot be verbal, it has to be visual or a written form of communication. Leadership style. If I am a democratic leadership style, if I have a democratic leadership style, obviously I would want feedback from my employees and the person who I am trying to communicate with. But if I have an autocratic style of leadership, I would only send the instructions without making any effort to get any feedback from the person I am sending the message. Third is the receiver. It is very important that the age and the mental capacity of the receiver is taken into consideration when we are choosing a communication method. Why? Because if the person is not, if I send a message that is written in a very difficult language and I'm sending that message to a child, that child will not understand my message. Or if I'm trying to show a picture but I'm not writing with it what the picture is all about or what the picture is meant to be for, then that picture will make no sense to the receiver. Next, the importance of written record. Now, there are certain things that need to be written in a proper form, like if I'm giving you a school leaving certificate, or if I'm giving you your result or your report. For that, I have to choose written form of communication, because verbal communication will have no proof, and if you want to show your university or your college what result you got in your class, you won't be able to show it with proof because it won't be written. In the same way, the importance of feedback. When feedback is required, we need to choose a communication method that that provides an opportunity to give the feedback to get the feedback from the receiver. Like if I am sending an SMS, I know I can get a feedback on my SMS. But if I write a note on the board and I leave the class, I would not get any feedback on that note. Why? Because I have written it and I went, and there is no way you can give a feedback on that note, because the next teacher will come and erase the board, and then there will be no proof that what I had written on the board. So in this way, if there is a need for feedback, then I will choose a appropriate method from which I can get the feedback from the receiver there and then. Formal communicate and informal communication. Formal communication is the channel of communication that is recognized by the business, such as notices on boards, emails, and memos. A formal means of communication is important. It shows that the information given is true and there is seriousness to it, whereas informal communication might be the communication between friends and co-workers or family members. There is no set structure and the information transferred is not recognized by the business. So it is not for the business itself, but only for your friends and family. Now, the method of communication is very important. There are different methods for communication. One is verbal, second is written, third is visual. Now, what are the examples of verbal communication? One-to-one talk, a telephone conversation, a video conferencing, or a meeting is a verbal. When you talk to one another and just oral speaking is involved, then that's verbal communication. Written communication is when we write letters, memos, reports, notices, faxes, or type an email. That is a written form of communication. And when we talk about films, videos, PowerPoint displays, posters, charts, diagrams that are put up, they are all forms of visual communication, because you can see, it's written also, and you can get the message from that communication method.